Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Happy Human Rights Day, everyone.
Good afternoon, rebels out there. I guess good morning to those of you out west of us, but welcome to the Rebel News Daily live stream and happy Human Rights Day, as Katherine just said. There's so much irony out there with all of our world leaders celebrating human rights and fighting the rise in authoritarianism right now, while our own human rights are being trampled on. Lots of good, fun stuff to come on that.
Well, I'm Katherine Krozonouski.
I'm Dakota Christensen, and it is our absolute pleasure to be hosting today's live stream.
Yes, it's a pleasure, an honor, and something else.
A privilege.
Yeah, there it is.
Which we know all about these days.
Yes. Well, we'll get to that. What are we starting with? Oh yes, the video about the Human Rights Day.
Of course.
Let's roll that clip just to get us started. It's very funny. And we will run it in a second. But it's
the UN has a video celebrating Human Rights Day for us, and we think it's just wonderful.
You're going to see it in a second, but it starts with a conversation about individualism and equality and your right to choose, and then it slowly segues into a collectivism message. So we're going to...
Yes, because human rights are collectivist rights, which mean the government's right to do whatever
doing the right
it wants.
thing.
So
let's roll it.
We're going to roll that. We think we're going to roll that.
Equality is at the heart of human rights. That doesn't mean we must all look the same, think the same, or act the same. Quite the opposite. It means that we embrace our diversity and demand that all be treated without any kind of discrimination. That no matter who we are, who we love, or where we live, we have equal opportunities to live in dignity and to pursue our dreams. That from the moment we are born, anywhere on this planet, we have the same rights to life, health, and education, to speak our minds without fear, to enjoy our days in a healthy environment. All of us. Equality is about empathy and solidarity, about understanding that as a common humanity, our only way forward is to work together for the common good. But the inequalities inflamed by COVID-19 are pushing us backwards. It is about time we push back and bring them down. On this Human Rights Day, I invite you to join me in lending your name and your efforts to equality, so that we can recover better, fairer, and greener from this crisis, so that we can rebuild societies that are more resilient and sustainable, so that we can stand up for human rights for all.
Yeah.
Wow. Isn't that just heartwarming?
I don't think that lady knows what human rights are.
Yeah, the one thing about that video that I would agree with is that I think it is time to push back, just not against what they were talking about. It's about time to push back on all this insane, backwards Orwellian authoritarianism that is being paraded as human rights.
Yeah, they're like, you have the human right to do what we tell you.
Yeah, exactly, for the good of all.
Yeah, it's great. And they didn't mention the word vaccine in that?
It wasn't explicitly said, but it was pretty clear message, I think.
And we'll talk about that later. But we have something fun going on this year where our viewers can directly interact with the great Honorable Ezra Levent by writing letters to Ezra. This is a fun opportunity to get your message read on air by Ezra. Obviously it has to be chosen because, you know, there has to be a little bit of what's the word?
Selection?
Yeah, there it is. You have to be chosen.
Purview.
Yes.
But yeah, you can go to letterstoezra.ca. Submit your letters. Like, it's Christmas time. Forget about writing letters to Santa. He's, you know, off busy. We don't really know or care about him. Apparently, out in whatever Scandinavian country was, Santa's gay right now on those ads. I don't know if you saw that. Menzies was talking about that on a past live stream.
I thought Scandinavian Santa was like that mean guy.
I don't know. I can't keep track
these
days. It's like woke Santa in whatever Nordic country that was.
There's like some demon Santa in in old like Eastern European folklore that like eats children if they're bad.
Oh, okay.
But that's not Ezra.
That's not
no,
Ezra. Ezra is a wonderful guy, and you can write your very own letters to Ezra at letters-to-ezra.ca and get your letters read on the Ezra Levant Show for all to see and hear as part of our
I'm going to
holiday
write
cheer.
a letter to him thanking him for hiring me. So
Suck up.
there.
Yeah, so you can see we have a form here. Fill out your name, date, country, province, email, and your letter to Ezra. Your personal letter, whatever you want to say, get out there. The very same Ezra Levant will read them out on air. Only on the best on Christmas Eve.
That's
So,
exciting. You know, I was saying this to a friend of mine, like something I love about Ezra is he is exactly the same in person as he is on TV, as he is in public speaking events. Like he's the
Yeah.
same guy. That's
Yeah.
just who he is. He's an awesome person.
I find I say that a lot about all of the Rebel journalists, especially.
No, I'm a total two-face. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, other than you, Katherine, but especially like David Menzies is the one guy. Everybody like he must be putting on a character, you know, like he's no, he is the exact same person on and off camera. He is just a real caricature of life, and it's the same for Ezra. He is the same person on camera and off. I can attest to that.
Yes, both gems and national treasures.
Of course.
Speaking of national treasure, Trudeau had a hilarious
I can't believe
tweet
those
yesterday.
two words were the same. National treasure and Justin Trudeau. I
Well,
think
he
mean
likes to
national
think
disgrace,
so.
but-
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like you say, yeah, Trudeau's tweet, Human Rights Day, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was about the Summit for Democracy.
Yeah, he brought Canada's approach to the table, which I guess is locking us down and forcing vaccines in us and printing more money until we all die, and announced how he'll keep working to defend democracy and counter the rise of authoritarianism. That is pretty rich, I would say.
Yeah.
Seeing as he's our resident tyrant who's practicing the authoritarianism in our
this
country.
is the man who has been quoted and videotaped saying that he respects China's basic democracy.
Basic dictatorship.
Sorry, oh my gosh.
Democracy? That's
Basic
funny.
democracy, that is a Freudian slip because that's what it should be. But
That's-
yes,
yeah,
the basic
democracy,
dictatorship of
yeah.
China, his second favorite country next to Canada, which is hilarious, you know?
Yeah, we know what he looks up to. We know what he practices because it's here at home already. So, yeah, that's very ironic. And happy Human Rights Day to everyone who is not have that many rights anymore, and they're slowly getting worse. But you know what? We're gonna try and look on the bright side and try to fight back.
I mean,
and,
it's
you
the
know,
holiday season.
Holiday
we should
season.
be excited about the future.
Here's
And
what I say for the holiday season. You know what? They're telling us to lock down, not have Christmas parties while our politicians are off partying themselves. I think it's time you just get together, hold your loved ones close, celebrate this Christmas season and whatever other holidays you are celebrating during this season, and just forget about all of the stupid mandates and the restrictions and all of that. Just, excuse me, make the most of it and don't let the restrictions get you down too much.
We have to save that kind of talk for after we're off YouTube. my
Yeah,
friend.
sorry guys, I'm getting too spicy here. We will be moving off of YouTube.
Follow mandates.
Shortly
They
enough.
are important.
But yeah, for those of you who are listening, the Mark Zuckerbergs out there, the YouTube regulators and censors, please comply with everything your government tells you to do.
Resistance is futile.
Yes.
Moving into our next video, I don't know what this one's about. I'm not going to lie to
Oh,
you
this one, the
guys.
video. Melanie Jolie, this is on the same topic of Trudeau tweeting it out. This is another clip of Trudeau's foreign affairs
yes.
minister
Okay.
on the same topic saying we need to fight the rise in authoritarianism while Trudeau's Liberal government is cracking down the hammer on all of us dirty underclass citizens and anyone who chooses to dissent from the government.
Again.
So,
Canadians and
Yeah,
people around
take a look at
the world
this.
understand that there is a rise of authoritarianism right now, and that we're in a fight to make sure that democracies are able to push back on this increase of authoritarianism. And clearly, we need to take stock of the influence of China, and we need to make sure that we're smart and strategic about it. Canadians.
yeah, so
What is going through her head, do you think, when she's saying those things? Do you think she sees the irony, or do you think she's like so brainwashed that she doesn't even?
probably not. Like, I
Register.
think she just feels really self-righteous, and that would be a normal thing for us to have seen pre-COVID, I would say. You know,
10
just,
years
oh yeah,
ago
you know
even. I
what?
don't even
It's, you know,
think-
good liberal democracy. Canada here, we're going to go and promote democracy and fighting against authoritarianism. You know, we got communist China out there. We got Russia doing sketchy stuff. We got all these countries over there. You got the dictatorships in the Middle East. Let's help promote democracy in the world. But nowadays, it's just so ironic
It's
to see our
so
government leaders
ironic.
here when they're bringing authoritarianism over to what used to be, we thought, a safe haven of democracy and freedom and the people. it's just really funny to see them talking about that now while they're practicing what they do here.
Yeah, it's perverse irony, as David Menzies would
Yes,
say.
the perverse irony of the situation.
We have a little game here. It was a couple weeks ago. We did the bingo, the Menzies bingo.
The Menzies bingo.
It was whenever he says one of his famous catchphrases, what did we do? Just scratch it off. I don't think there was a
bingo
prize.
game,
I think the prize is just getting to know David Menzies.
It's significant bragging rights if you can fill out the bingo square
but
with
perverse
Menzies bingo.
irony was
But
one. It was
the
always
free space, actually.
Yeah,
The perverse irony of the situation.
that's the free space. He said it every time because there's so much of it.
There's so much. The world is filled with irony right now. If you have the right outlook, you look around the world and you can just keep laughing at everything. If you just want to be totally clown-pilled, because it's absurd the world we're living in right now. Some people are all depressed and think it's dystopian. I kind of find it a little funny sometimes, but
It's like the
just
opposite of the
depends on
doom
mood.
pill, the clown pill. That's a
Exactly.
new one for me because
Yeah.
I'm so old. I don't know these cool new hip things
Yeah,
that the
exactly.
kids are saying.
Clown pill is the
There we
latest.
go,
That's
I
the
love
next
that.
step. You can be you're blue pilled, then you're red pilled, and then you get black pilled and depressed, or doom pilled, as you say. And then the clown pill is you just don't
just
care
laugh.
anymore. You're just laughing at everything because
of the
everything is
brain
fun.
damage
Yeah.
from all the
Exactly.
sterilizing
like
hand sanitizer.
our friends over at the Babylon Bee, satirical writing, they're having such a great time because they can just take regular headlines and post them, and it's already their satirical content.
Yeah.
So.
Sometimes it's hard to know.
Oh yeah, here we go. Clown World Today, wonderful Twitter
this-
account. I've actually never seen this before.
I've never seen this either,
I
but I'm
think
going
that's
to
great.
follow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check this out.
Will follow.
Yeah.
That's
Definite-
some fun
definite
stuff. Here's something not fun. Jussie Smollett, is that it?
Smollett?
Smollett?
Jussie Smollett, I think
There we
that's how
go.
you pronounce it.
Speaking of clowns, am I right?
Yeah,
there have been
jeez.
so many funny tweets on this.
Yeah, if you don't know, he essentially staged an attack on himself. He is black and gay, I believe, and he kind of played the victim card there and said, oh, this is an attack on the LGBT community and the black people in America, and this just shows how terrible and racist and bigoted the country is.
It's because of Trump specifically.
Yeah, and looks like it's all just a big hoax, and he actually staged this and paid a couple guys thousands of dollars to attack him and put a lynch around his
And
neck
not
and
just
stage
that,
this attack.
we're saying that it was staged.
Yeah.
He was found guilty in a court of law of creating a false police report.
Yeah, of lying to the
something.
police and all of that. Yeah.
There you go.
Guilty on 5 of 6 counts, lied, staged race-baiting attack in Chicago. And what's super funny about this is that at the time, everyone on the left bought into this story, hook, line, and sinker. They were all over about it, saying how this is a terrible, terrible indictment of America and just how racist and bigoted it is and how we need to change and how Trump is evil. And I think we've got some tweets to show you here because it's just pretty rich seeing that this was all just a big hoax.
We're going to show a video first.
Okay, video? Okay, let's see here.
Of a media that's saying it's a debate whether or not what just happened to Jussie Smollett is a hate crime.
LNP.
It's
All right.
absurd. This isn't a debate.
I agree.
A round of applause
Sorry,
for
I'm
the very
like,
basic
I'm like really fired up tonight,
This is how you have to be fired
it
up.
feels impossible to
have
not
to
feel
fi-
this
you
way
have
right
to be
now
fired up,
with
yeah.
the president and the vice president, Mike Pence, who wishes I couldn't be married. Let's just be clear. The vice president of America wishes I didn't have the love with my wife. He wanted to ban that in Indiana. He believes in conversion therapy. He has hurt LGBTQ people so badly as the government of Indiana, and I think the thing we need to know, and I hope my show Gaycation did this, in terms of connecting the dots, in terms of what happened the other day to Jussie. I don't know him personally. I sent all of my love. Connect the dots. This is what happens. If you are in a position of power and you hate people and you want to cause suffering to them, you go through the trouble. You spend your career trying to cause suffering. What do you think is going to happen? Kids are going to be abused and they're going to kill themselves. And people are going to be beaten on the street. I have traveled the world and I have met the most marginalized people you can meet. I am lucky to have this time and the privilege to say this. This needs to stop.
She seems like she'd be really fun at parties.
Yeah, I would like to invite her, or I suppose him, as Ellen Page is now supposedly Elliot Page, to my birthday party because they would make a wonderful presence there.
that individual is an actor, but not acting in any way. No. I love when celebrities go on screen and act really sincere and they start tearing up. It's like, you're paid to do that.
Yeah.
Are you trying to fool us? Like, you just did that and I paid to see you do it, and now you're doing it again, and I'm like,
yeah. It's also just really rich to see the outrage and the tears and the emotion over something that was completely staged and a hoax, as it turns out to be proven in court, which is the big headline. It's just so funny to see these people saying, look, I was so right, look at what I told you, everyone out there is racist and bigoted, but it turns out their evidence they're giving us is completely fabricated.
And they don't care. It's not like she would, they. I'm sure
I think he, him now, Elliot Page.
You're right. Apologies, Elliot. I'm sure you, Elliot, would never admit that you went out on a limb and I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Like, you.
What are you trying to
say?
Essentially, just went off.
You victimized this person, and it was a lie, and you're not even going to admit it. You'll never admit it. She'll just say, or he'll just say, "Oh, but there's so many other real stories." It's like there's so many. There is racism in America. It goes all sorts of ways, but they only like to pick out the ones that are favorable to their narrative. And let's see what apologies we get. What apologies the people who were or demonized because of that. Any MAGA supporters were demonized for years, but no apologies are going to come their way.
Yeah, as you can see.
Look at Joe Biden, the President of the United States.
Yeah, Biden's, I think, is quite. What happened today to Jussie Smollett must never be tolerated in this country. We must stand up and demand that we no longer give this hate safe harbor and that homophobia and racism have no place on our streets. We are with you, Jussie. Which, of course, we would agree with those 100%. Sentiments 100%, that homophobia and racism have 100%. No place. But it's just hilarious how they're just attacking ghosts here.
It's all blue check marks.
Yeah, it's just a completely fabricated situation where they can't find enough racism and homophobia, actual racism and actual homophobia to point to help push their narrative. They're now jumping on this thing like this Jussie Smollett hoax was a gift to them because it helped to push their narrative so much. And it's just hilarious to see that it was all completely fake. And some people had their suspicions, and they were right.
Yeah, and it's funny because Joe Biden also did the same thing to Kyle Rittenhouse before he was the president, I think. But he said that this is a white supremacist. First of all, this is a child. He's 17 years old.
Well, he's 18 now.
Okay, fair enough. But at the time, he was a 17-year-old kid who the incumbent president was, or the president-elect.
No, I think it was a campaign ad actually he was running it where he called him a white supremacist.
A campaign ad?
I think. I'm not sure.
I think it was on Twitter too.
Yeah.
For sure he tweeted about it. But it's like, where's the apology?
Yeah,
Where's the apology?
Yeah, he wants to sit down with Biden. Yeah, that was great. There's been a lot of, Kyle Rittenhouse has had a lot of interviews recently. I've seen some with him, I think he was with Crowder recently, with Glenn Beck. He had a great sit down with Elijah Schaffer on the You Are Here thing. Highly recommend that. But it's just, it's hilarious to see now. And now he's sitting there, and I'm sure he's going to have so much fun suing all of these people for defamation and raking in his millions because they all jumped the gun, called him a white supremacist, a terrorist, different, like I saw The Independent during the trial reporting that he killed multiple black people at a Black Lives Matter protest when, surprise, they were actually white.
Yeah.
And just so much misinformation and false stuff going around. And when
funny
you actually
how many people didn't actually know
Yeah.
that the victims of his shooting were white. People didn't know that because the narrative was they were Black Lives Matter protesters.
Well, yeah, and that's how it was reported.
The assumption,
Yeah, just
they forgot
this
that.
white teenager, shot two Black Lives Matter protesters. Like, well, they were protesting a Black Lives Matter event, but one was a white pedophile, the other was a white, I forget what sort of criminal, burglar, wife beat or something.
Yeah, it was a terrible person. And one of the people that was shot, I believe it was the guy that he killed, actually used the N-word right before he was shot. So it's like, ooh.
He really cares about
throwing that around at a Black Lives Matter protest. Woo!
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of trials, there's a tiny little insignificant trial going on right now called the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Whew, a lot to unpack there.
Or Ghislaine Maxwell, if you're Andrew Chapman.
Or if you don't know any French.
But
and he's French.
Yeah,
I know. He's being cheeky. I get it. He's a cheeky boy.
What's wild about this is because there's no live coverage of this trial. The same, like for example, the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. There were cameras in there, people reporting on it. We got very thorough coverage of it. There's no actual media coverage.
Yeah, it's because it's federal.
It's a federal.
Laws.
Yeah, it's a different court. And so there is this Twitter account, I believe it is called
Trial Tracker.
The Trial Tracker, the Maxwell Trial Tracker, or something of the sort.
Yeah.
And it keeps being taken down off Twitter because apparently Twitter doesn't like the public knowing what's going on at this trial.
Yeah, it's been taken down a couple of times. Yeah, it's getting censored, and now the account was suspended. I think it was twice, at least once for sure, and now there's a couple other other ones being posted. New accounts are coming up with kind of the same name, so it's kind of hard to follow exactly which one's which.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to follow this very important case.
Yeah, like it's a trial because this is Epstein's essentially partner in crime here, is helping him traffic all of these, young women and girls. And in this trial, there are so many people being named.
This
yeah,
is
the Maxwell
newest
trial tracker. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead and
can we show
give that a
the
follow.
picture of Ghislaine drawing her sketch artist? This photo, it was in the profile of that Twitter account, but this is one of those photos that I think, maybe I'm silly here, but I think it's going to be like an important photo. I just think it's culturally relevant because this person is possibly a monster.
Quite likely,
And
it seems certain.
she's taken offense to the courtroom sketch artist sketching her. And so she's now sketching the sketch artist back, and the sketch artist is sketching her. It's like this weird metaphysical loop of shame. And it's like, no, Ghislaine, this is normal. It's not like, oh, these people are treating me like an animal. It's like, no, that's really normal for being in a court with no
she's just
cameras.
a creepy, high-class socialite woman.
Or they
who
could have
is
had a
sex
camera in your
trafficking.
face the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like this woman sees herself as a victim, and again, you know what? It's all alleged at this point.
It
So
is
let's see what
alleged.
happens.
So we're not going to counteract before they hatch. But.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who think that she's not going to go to jail because of FBI shenanigans.
We'll see, but it's just interesting that big tech has a problem with reporting on a trial that's going on, a very high-profile case that they're trying to throttle, which is a little sketchy.
It's weird that big tech is protecting pedophiles potentially.
Yeah, who are
not
connected
like they've ever done
to
that before.
all sorts of high-profile, powerful people, politicians, celebrities, all the like, everyone in that little Epstein ring. So
it's probably a big ring.
Yeah, as we've seen.
Disgusting people doing disgusting things. We have a sad story.
Yeah, not on the topic of disgusting people doing disgusting things. We are moving to a separate topic here, just to be clear. But something, just a terrible headline. Just want to mention this because it is a very newsworthy thing. An MLA in Manitoba, an NDP MLA, Danielle Adams, recently passed away in a car crash, which is tragic. It's heartbreaking, and we just wanted to make sure we covered that. And our condolences to her family and friends and everyone who know her.
She was a mother too,
Yeah,
and there's nothing worse than
just a heartbreaking story. So
so our heart goes out to the people of Manitoba and anyone who knew her or looked up to her, her family, and her husband, of course, and she has 2 children. So that's very, very sad. We like to talk about all sorts of things on this, but it's a sad one. And,
exactly. While we're in the middle of talking about politics and politicians and that, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention her and her tragic sudden passing. So.
Yeah, that's really sad.
But
how do we segue from that into the store promo?
We just want to make sure that we mention that. But just so you know, we are about to be moving away from YouTube soon. So if you can go ahead, you're going to want to make that transition very shortly, if you're not already, to Rumble, Odyssey, Super U. Try to encourage all our YouTube viewers to go to the alternative platforms because we cut off our stream to YouTube before we get into the a little more spicy topics. Because YouTube likes to throttle and shut down people who talk about anything related to COVID or vaccines.
Which is it's fine. It's their right.
That's their policy. They're a private company and all of that. But
comply.
We like the people who actually let us speak freely, such as Rumble, Odyssey, Super U, and the others. So please do move over there.
But we do want to talk about the store before you leave, because shopping season, it's the holiday season, and really, what better gift can you give someone than something from the heart? Something that says, I am a rebel, I believe in freedom, and you can find all that stuff at the Rebel News store. Just go to rebelnewsstore.com. We have all sorts of cool designs. We have men's and women's sizes. We have baby merch. We have phone cases. We even have seasonal phone cases. So if you're like, I already have a Rebel phone case, well, that's okay. You can get a Christmas-themed one.
Yeah, give the gift of Rebel. If you would like to get yourself or your loved ones, anyone, gifts from a Rebel News store for Christmas time, you got to order before December 14th, I believe is the date. December 14th is the last day you could order to make sure your stuff actually shows up on time in order to have it under the tree, or, you know, if you don't do that, just to give the gifts actually on Christmas. December 14th, Rebel News Store. And if you want, you can use our promo codes, get a 10% discount on there. For myself, it's DAX10 at checkout. We'll give you 10% off. I'm not sure, is yours
Katherine
Katherine
10. I would go with his because it's a lot shorter.
You know, shorter,
Dax.
but, you know, DAX10, Katherine 10. Go ahead and get 10% off your order. We got some sweet designs. Check it out, rebelnewsstore.com.
Okay, let's head over to our other. Well, we're already there, but let's say goodbye to YouTube.
So
goodbye,
farewell, YouTube people.
Join us.
Rumble, Odyssey, Super U. We're getting down to business on the real spicy topics